Hi guys, it's Coach Ollie here, and I'm going to be doing an exercise to show you how to stretch out your lower back. Okay, so we're going to go for 30 seconds on each side. We're going to be dropping our knees down, alternating the sides that we're going. This is a really good exercise simply because it's going to be really easily accessible for people of all levels. So, first thing we're going to do, bring yourself down onto the ground. You can use yoga mats if needs be. I'm just going to have a slight lift of the legs. I'm just going to slowly rotate down one way. Good. I'm going to hold this position for about 30 seconds. Just make sure you're breathing through. And if you want to extend the stretch, feel free to look in the opposite direction. Make sure to keep breathing through, and when you're ready, and you've done your 30 seconds, we can rotate to the other side. And again, if I want to extend that stretch, I'll look in the opposite direction as well. Again, holding for about 30 seconds, okay?
Hey, it's Coach Barney here. Today we're going to go over a stretch called the frog stretch. So it's basically going to work the inner thighs and just give the adductors a nice stretch there. You might also feel a good stretch just through the sort of mid to lower back as well, depending on your flexibility range there. So get your knees as wide as you can. You're going to try and keep your feet flexed and in line with your knees, and then you can come down to your forearms and just hold here. Try and keep the line from your hip to your knee nice and straight as well. If it's too hard, you can lean a bit further forward, or if you want to intensify it, you can push further back. Another variation is you can just point the toes in, make it a little bit easier, just ease off, and just kind of hold here. So this one's just going to help to work towards some moves like middle splits and just generally opening up the inner thigh area, which can be quite tight for us.
Hey CaliUnity, Coach Becky here. I'm going to take you through a half forward fold stretch. This is a really good way to stretch out the hamstrings. Nice alternative if touching the toes feels like it's not quite achievable right now. Stretching out the hamstrings is really important if you want to be able to float up in your kick-ups, your handstands, and also get the legs straight on the rings for any of your skills as well. So we're just going to take one leg out in front, the other leg is folded out to the side. If your hip is a little bit tight, you could always elevate the hips here by sitting onto anything. Yoga blocks, books if you're at home, or a cushion. And then we're going to take the fold forwards in the same direction as the front leg. I like to take the hands either side of the leg, while I'm keeping the back straight, and then walk the fingers forward. So you can also take it up overhead and fold, but sometimes this can cause us to round the back. We're going to keep it nice and active, inching the fingertips forwards, and go as far as you feel like you can until you feel good stretching, but not pain all the way through the back of the leg. If you're really feeling this into the back of the knee, you're always welcome to bend your knee. I'm going to hold here for up to about 30 seconds to really get the benefit of the stretch. Try and take some nice deep breaths as you go into the stretch. And what you might find is as you breathe, you relax a little bit more, and you're able to go a little bit deeper into it. And then you're going to switch and do it on the other side.
Hey CaliUnity, Coach Guy here with a great stretch to help you relieve tension in your quads as well as your hip flexors. This one is called the couch stretch, and it's a great stretch to do post any pushing leg work that you do either at home, at the gym, or in classes. So for this one, you're just going to need a surface behind you that's solid that you can put your leg against. That could be a wall, it could be a box, a sofa, a chair, anything that basically won't move when you apply pressure against it. And I'll show you what I mean now. So you're going to come onto all fours, and the leg we want to be working and stretching, we're going to push that leg back into that surface, so the top of my foot and shin and my knee are kind of against that surface. And then I'm going to lift up the other foot, the front foot, and bring it forward. So I'm almost in this like crouch, long starter position. If you need it, you can bring support in under each hand using either blocks, books, foam rollers or sticks, anything you can get your hands on, okay? If we're in this position and it already feels like it's quite a deep stretch, that's fine, we're just going to stay here. For the length of time for this stretch, regardless of what position you get into, you want to be looking at 30 seconds at least each side. 45 seconds or a minute is ideal. So I'm feeling this stretch, but this isn't my final position that I want to end up in eventually. I want to bring myself up, lift, and come up nice and tall. I'm feeling that nice stretch through here. Again, nothing above a 7 on my personal scale. And the idea is I want to push my lower back and my shoulders back towards the surface behind me at the same time. Okay. 30 seconds here, making sure the hips are nicely stacked. I'm not kind of rolling or rotating. I'm not trying to arch, pushing my ribs out. Nice and strong. And if you really want to intensify that stretch, squeeze your bum together as hard as you can and hold. Only do those for about 10-15 seconds, so maybe half of your total stretch time. And then we come down. And then we repeat the same thing on the opposite side.
Hey guys, Coach Kira here. Today I'm going to show you one of my favourite shoulder stretches that will really help you post any classes, whether it's skills and strength, reps and sets, with just a little bit of tension and mobility. So what we're going to do is put yourself onto the floor. You are going to bring your hands both on the floor, just behind your hips, almost underneath your shoulders, fingertips facing forwards, and then either you can bring your legs nice and straight or come into a little bit of a bridge position here. I'm going to slowly start to lift up your hips and butt off the floor. The more you press up, the more you're going to feel a stretch all the way from kind of your elbows all the way up to the shoulders, maybe even a little bit on the top of the chest as well. So we're going to be pressing up, squeezing your hips and butt up to the floor, look up to the ceiling, and holding there for about 30 seconds. You can even rock back and forth a tiny bit, just to get a bit of an extra stretch in different areas. After you feel that you've got a sufficient amount of stretching in your shoulders and chest muscles, pop yourself back down, and I hope that helps.
Hey team, it's Coach Kobe here. Just want to run through a shoulder movement that we can use to open the shoulders up really well after classes and to support moves like the handstand and the power movements in classes. So, we place the hands flat against the box. You could use any kind of flat surface here as well, as long as there's a bit of elevation. Knees down. The further you come away from here, the harder it's going to be. I'm just going to start kind of like fairly close. I'm going to push my arms away, keep my arms really long. Pushing down, flat palms. I'm just going to sink down, try and let my chest go as close to the floor as I can. Once we find that sticking point, we're just going to hold for up to around 30 seconds.
Hello, Paul here. So we're going to go through 4 levels of an easy shoulder stretch, keeping it close to the floor and giving yourself a little bit of room to maneuver as you warm up. It's puppy dog, so we're thinking of our hips coming over the knees, reaching out with flat palms first of all, and then dropping down, forearms towards the floor, and chest and chin moving down towards the floor. It might feel a little intense at first, but just take a few breaths. Think about the exhale making things softer. Then we can level it up by pushing the palms into the floor and lifting the forearms up, dropping back down into the stretch. And slowly drawing yourself back to a seat. I would take about 4 or 5 breaths for each repetition. And then we have 2 ways to level it up. So thinking about tented fingertips, walking out, keeping the palms away from the floor. Now the idea is to drop the chest almost straight down towards the floor, and I use my gaze to look up between the thumbs. You might notice a little bit of a rise and fall associated with your breath. Sometimes it becomes lighter on the inhale and a little bit more depth on the exhale. And then you can add to this one by bringing a little bit of movement into it. Think about tucking or scooping your pelvis, which will lift you upwards. And then extending and dropping down. Find a couple more breaths at the bottom. And then slowly ease your way out. Hope that one's helpful.